What's going on? Welcome to Matinee Prices. I know you're usually looking for, Kim Kardashian or whatever, but you found us. So just stick with us a while and hopefully we'll be just as entertaining. Even more informative, I think.
Twice as cute.
Twice as cute. And there's a reason for that if you haven't been able to guess. We've got special guests on our show today. We've left the confines of our normal couch and found another couch outside in the world. But we are here at Carborough Library, which is a very special place for us because it is a big reason why we've been able to do this show. We've got here with us Sam and Katie. Say hey, ladies.
Hello. Hello, ladies.
And we're gonna launch into a couple of movies like we normally do, but then we're also gonna discuss the programs in the libraries in our area, which can help a lot of people. Definitely helped Cameron and myself. Is the reason why we were able to do this show. Like I said, Cam, what do you want to do for? As far as setting it up?
Well, I want to say Huru was hounding me for the longest time about getting a Library card because for the longest time, Huru would just borrow movies, and then when he was done watching them, I would take them from him. And a lot of times I would end up with a late fee situation. So eventually Huru was just like, just get your own library card. And it was literally the thing, it was like I signed something to get my email address and I had a library card. And it was like, I really wasn't expecting it to be that easy.
Yeah, you still owe me $30, by the way.
I'm sure I do. But basically, ever since Vizart Video closed, Huru and I have been boycotting Netflix and Redbox, and we're not here to judge people for using those services.
I judge.
We're going to judge you a little bit, but if you're watching movies, that's a plus, and like wherever you're getting them from, as long as you're watching movies that are entertaining you, then that's good. Because we encourage people to watch movies.
Keep watching.
But we want to let people know that that's not your only option. I'd say 90% of the movies, at least 80-90% of the movies that we've talked about on the show, we got from here.
Yeah.
Every one of the movies that we did for our vampire episode were movies that we rented from here. So not only is this a place where you can get movies for free, and you have a really good selection. There you're going to find a lot of independent movies, a lot of underground movies, movies that didn't get a theatrical release that probably should have, or movies that did get a theatrical release but they kind of tanked at the box office and they kind of faded into obscurity. There's a lot of movies like that you can find here at the Carborough Library, and the Chapel Hill Library.
Yeah.
So this location holds a very special place in our heart. All the locations that we shoot at mean something to us. This one is the big one though. As soon as Huru and I were talking about venturing out of the apartment and shooting on location, Huru said we had to shoot here because
how can we not?
Because kind of like the reason we have a show is because of this place and because you guys having these fantastic movies that we can choose from.
Once I lost my original source of movies, and I was lost there for a long time, and then I was like, I can get movies here, and came here, and then like I went through basically everything that I wanted to see here, their entire catalog, and then requested some. And they were like, okay, maybe we can do all 12 of these. We're not sure. We're to the library. And it's like, no, that's fine. Whatever you can get. This was a natural place for us to venture out for the show. Right now we're going to do what we normally do and review a couple of movies that probably haven't seen. The little underground. We got one that's foreign that actually made money, but you probably haven't seen it. So we're talking about Amelie and Skeleton Twins. Which one do you want to lead with first, Cam? You want to do Skell?
Alphabetical order. Start with Amelie.
Start with Amelie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I introduce myself?
Sure.
Yes, please.
So,
let people know who you are.
Yeah.
Hello. My name is Katie McNearney, and I am a librarian here at the Library, which is part of the Orange County Public Library System. And I am also an employee of the Chapel Hill Public Library, which Cameron also mentioned. And the movie that I selected today is called Amelie, as it is known in this country. It has a longer title that Americans are far too lazy to pronounce it. Le Fabuleux Destin d'Amélie Poulain is the full title. But it's a lot easier to say Amelie.
But proving she's not lazy.
Yeah.
Good pronunciation.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very
Yes.
nice.
Well,
The French.
that was one of the reasons that I think it appeals to me so much, is because it is in French. It's a French movie, and it really, well, I mean, I love any excuse to practice my French or to practice my comprehension at least. And it's nice watching movies because you can sort of cheat back and forth between listening and then checking yourself with the subtitles. But yeah, it's nice because it presents a really beautiful view of Paris and of the neighborhood that they're in. Montmartre is the neighborhood that's sort of up on the top of the hill. You can see the rest of the city. There's a scene where she's sort of overlooking everyone, and you guys probably know the scene that I'm talking
Sure.
about.
Yeah.
Sort of guessing some statistics about the city, that's how I'll put it. And I just really like the feeling of the film. Not only, like, you finish the movie and it's just, you sort of left with like a very charmed feeling. It's a very charming
movie. It wins you over.
Yeah.
Lots of beautiful little touches, little details, and that I feel really makes the movie. It's not really about the plot at all. It's more about like this microcosm of this neighborhood and all the little characters who are interacting with each other that form the backdrop for the main character's journey.
Right.
And yeah, I think that other reason that the movie appeals to me, not only because it's a French movie set in Paris beautifully, is I do identify a lot with the main character.
How so?
So
Do you play elaborate pranks on people?
Yeah.
When they're not home?
I will
Sneak into their
never-
house and
I will
rearrange?
never tell you.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, leave me
Especially
guessing.
since
The
we're on
good
camera,
hard
I
pranks.
probably wouldn't.
Yes,
Yeah.
if I did, they would be on people. They'd be to make people happy in the end. So, which is, I think, what the main character really wants to do. She wants to make life. She wants to make other people happy. She wants to, connect people. She's always trying to make connections or connect someone with their long lost trinkets. That was her I guess sort of what starts the movie on its
When she finds
plot.
the
When
little
she
box.
finds the box
Yeah,
hidden in the wall.
love that bit.
And it's just, I love how they get to it too. It's very slow paced, almost circuitous, but not really. It's just, it takes a while to set up the action. But yeah, she's always trying to make other people happy, and then by the end of the movie, or most of the way towards the movie, she only realizes I have to make myself happy when someone else tells her to. I know, I guess I just identify with someone who wants to help other people and make other people happy, and then sometimes neglects to take care of myself or to try to make myself happy. And also, I don't know, I feel like she takes a lot of joy in details and small things, and just noticing details about the world, and she
She said that
sort of-
in the movie, watching the movie, and they highlighted the little bug that was going
Yeah,
on in the movie.
yeah.
It's nice little things, yeah.
She really does, and I feel weird a lot of times by in the real world by noticing those things and pointing them out, but it's oh, there's someone else. There's another weirdo like me.
Yeah. I was impressed when people were telling me and recommending this movie to me, and there's a little girl on the cover, or a young version of the main
Mhm.
character. I thought it was going to be skewed to cutesy younger, like, oh, look at these kids. Da,
Yeah.
da, da. So it took me a while to see it, and then I watched it. It's an adult film.
I would say it's,
Yeah,
it's rated R.
very
Well,
late.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very late. But I didn't
I
see
think
the
it's-
yeah.
I think it's, sort of a French approach to just like not excluding sex from a movie just to exclude it. It's part of life instead
Right.
of just
Yeah.
including
Right.
it as part of life.
Right.
It's not really about that so much. It's
Right.
just a part of the rest of the world that you live in.
Right.
Um,
But having said that, we dealt with a lot of parents at Vizart, and we would have to warn them.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Oh,
if, 'cause
yeah.
if you recommend it, I was like, oh yeah, well there's a little girl, I saw
wouldn't-
this, and you'd be
no.
like, wait, you guys.
Or they would hear
how old
about
are
it. They heard about this fun, whimsical French movie,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, yeah, but it's not a kids movie,
There's
so
this,
like,
yeah.
don't watch it with your children.
Yeah.
It's not, because I remember just from the box and when it came out, I remember thinking, oh, this is gonna be like a French version of Matilda, because the little girl reminded me of Matilda.
Exactly.
And then I was
Okay.
like, she's going on these wacky adventures and she gets revenge on people. It's like, oh, it's just like Matilda. And I was like, no, it's really not. But all the I feel like this thing that happens at the beginning of the movie as a kid sets in motion all the things that happen to her as an adult.
Yeah.
With her mom and her
Yeah.
dad and like not being able to go to
I
public
love that
school.
intro so much.
Me
It's
too.
like one of the best intros, like openings of a movie I've ever
It's
seen.
so and
It's
it's
so particularly done.
yeah, and it's so very French.
And
Like
the-
that whole opening voiceover, just
Yes.
the inflection in the guy's voice. It's
Yeah.
almost like a French filmmaker parodying French filmmakers.
Yeah. I think that's part of the reason it appeals to me as an American who likes France and the French language. It's very much like a romanticized France, and
Yeah.
it draws on that a lot in
Yeah.
the movie, which is part of its charm.
Yeah.
And I would see why that wouldn't necessarily appeal to a French audience that much.
Right.
But yeah, there was something else I wanted to say too. Oh, something else that I learned from online that I didn't necessarily notice when I was watching the film, but I read it and then rewatched the film, and I did notice it, is that it has a really specific, like, visual language that it uses, like in the colors.
The colors, yeah.
The colors that it uses,
Yep.
it's like, I mean, if
Mhm.
the box is like bright greens, it's like the greens and the reds,
Mhm.
or the green/yellows and the red/oranges, and it's really interesting to see how that color is used in the film. And I think that's another thing that appeals to me about it, is that I love color a lot.
He's a very visual. I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
getting his name. Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
Awesome.
Jeunet.
He also directed City of Lost Children, which is one of my favorite movies, and
Yeah.
that's like, if you're talking about like visually stunning movies, like if
Yeah.
you haven't seen City of Lost Children,
It's
it's amazing and
Yeah.
delicatessen. And what I also found out was that Jeunet didn't go to film school. He was a self-taught filmmaker. Like he was interested in film and just decided he wanted to make movies, so that's what he did. But he didn't have any formal training,
And look at him
which I
now.
love that. Yeah.
That's somebody we want to keep in mind.
Yeah, and he was almost 40 when he made his first movie. So he
Wow.
didn't even jump into it as a young man.
There you
That's
go.
cool.
There you go. So we've gone over one film, and now we're going to touch on the next one, which is Skeleton Twins, which became one of Cameron and I's, both of our, after we saw it, like one of our favorite films. We're already big fans of the lead actors because they're SNL alums, which I think was part of the draw
Mhm.
of getting to like, oh, let's see what they do. But we'll let Miss
Yeah,
Sam
it's Skeleton
roll
Twins.
into it,
So,
and we'll back her up. Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm Sam Thorne. I also work at the library. Worked here for over 3 years. And yeah, I love movies, so I'm excited to be here, excited to just talk about movies. I love The Skeleton Twins. It was made in 2014. Just actually another librarian recommended it to me, a coworker at the, I know what they're talking about.
Yeah, good choice.
At the Carver Branch Library. I also work there. There's the library and the Carver Branch Library, that are both part of the Orange County Public Library System. Yeah, I hadn't heard of it, but I checked it out in the library, and just basically love everything about it. I love I think all the acting is excellent, both the lead characters and the supporting cast. So the general gist of the movie, the story is that there's twins, Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig, who are estranged. They haven't talked to each other in 10 years, and they're brought back together when one of them attempts suicide. And the movie is about their relationship with each other, their history, and their relationships with other people as well. And I love the way the story is told. I think it's done in a really smart way where you don't get everything right at the beginning, and it kind of just reveals things as it goes along in a really natural way. None of the characters are just like telling you exactly what's going on. You kind of have to get it from their interactions with other people, or he's going to see this guy and you don't know who this guy is, but it's obviously someone from his past, and you're kind of piecing it together. And so that feels very natural. The whole thing just feels very real. The relationship with each other, I totally believe. And they're just the way it shows their sibling relationship and these two people that have this shared history. So they're kind of, you see it come out in their interactions with each other, and they have like a certain song that they lip sync to.
That's my favorite part of the entire movie. It's, oh my god.
You can tell that it was like an important part of their childhood relationship. Anyway, so you can tell that they're siblings, right? They have this history together, but then they've been apart for all this time. So you can see also the trouble with the people that they've become, and now trying to interact with each other without kind of referring to that past. I love Luke Wilson's character.
It was good to see him in a movie. He hadn't done a lot lately, but I've always liked him as an actor, and it was just cool to see him pop up in something good.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
He did a really good
He's great at it.
And I love that he's not a bad guy, because at the beginning when you first meet him, you're kind of like, oh, like this kind of, he's kind of silly and kind of goofy and maybe not as smart or sophisticated as the skeleton twins.
You were waiting for him to be sort of like the turn on.
Without giving anything away from what happens in the movie, as a filmmaker, it would have been very easy to make him unlikable, to justify some things that happen.
Yeah.
So you could be like, well, I don't like him, so it's okay that this stuff happened.
Yes.
But it was very bold to me. It's like, he's a good man, but this stuff happened to him anyway. And so it didn't shy away from like making, as the audience, you have to deal with that and accept it.
Yeah.
The thing that I really appreciated about the movie was that level of flawed that they injected in, like, everyone, like, even the person you may have not liked the most or the least liked was just as flawed as everybody else. And it was so layered as you went down. They were just people. Their interaction, even though they're twins and you can tell they're connected, like you said, when they started, it had been some time. So there was a rift, like you could clearly see it. It was very calm. Hader plays sort of a character like that on SNL.
Stefan.
He did a character. Yeah. So when I saw this, and I was really hoping, I'm like, he's not just gonna Stefan his way through this.
They didn't make it a cliche or a stereotype. You don't see that a lot.
With so calm.
When you see like a gay person portrayed on film, it's usually like they're either like
over the top,
or it's a romantic comedy, and they're the female lead's best friend.
Right.
They're overly sophisticated.
Right.
They're always the smartest guy in the room. They're really catty and quippy, but that's another thing about this movie is like they're just showing things as real life. It's like, we're not gonna do that cliche. It's like, yeah, he's a gay guy, but he's a person, and he's got flaws, and like, he's not overly sophisticated. He's not the smartest guy in the room. He's got tons of problems.
He doesn't have all the answers.
He's just a person, and like, his sexuality is like, it's important to the plot, without giving anything away, but nothing is driven by the fact that he's gay. He just is.
Yeah. I thought it's one of the few quips once I rewatched it for the show, and I thought, because something happens there at the start where they're both technically doing the same thing, and one just beats the other by like, I don't know, like half a day or whatever.
Mhm.
And I thought one was listening to music and the other one had music on their phone. And,
Yeah.
I thought that would have been just eerie, because I've heard twins, not twins like this, but like real twins who have done like things like that.
Yeah.
But it sort of like, it still worked because they were both about getting ready to do sort of the similar, like same thing.
Yeah.
And it sort of drives the story, the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's one of those, like, I watched it and gave it to Cameron. I was like, you gotta watch it. And I think we've watched it again, like,
I've seen it 2 or 3 times.
yeah,
already.
2 or 3
Yeah.
times.
And
yeah.
and it's one of those, like, it's the screenplay is great. It's really well directed. I'd say it's minimally directed. There's nothing like, there's not a lot of visual flourishes. There's not a lot of
Right.
locations, but this movie to me, it's all about the screenplay and the acting, because there's only like 5 or 6 characters in the entire movie. Like this movie could very easily be a play.
Yeah.
You know, a handful of locations, 5 or 6 speaking roles, but I think the one thing that sells it, like the movie, is the two of them.
Yeah.
And I think having 2 people who worked on Saturday Night Live together for like 5 or 6 years was just genius casting, because like we need
Really
to
great
convey
chemistry.
that these people have known each other, they can finish each other's sandwiches, they have these inside jokes. It's not like the thing when they're lip syncing.
Right.
You could tell it's like, okay, this is something that they've done forever. They probably did this in a high school talent show,
Right.
20 years ago or something like that. And just having the 2 of them in a movie together. And they've been in a bunch of movies together.
Right, but at the same time, this is usually what separates the people who are coming from SNL, if they can do like the dramatic roles, or any comedic person.
Yeah.
When they do the dramatic roles,
Mhm.
and you see it like Bob Newhart on ER, which I think I know he definitely got nominated. I can't remember if he won or not.
Right.
Kristen Wiig, like between that and
I was gonna say Welcome to Me. That movie
Welcome
is
to Me,
right.
or Diary of a Teenage Girl.
Yeah.
That was like all of these, when you see
She's made some bold choices.
yeah, when you see that and you sort of like, oh, they're gonna joke their way through it, and which you don't mind because they're very good at being funny.
Mhm.
But when you see them take a serious role, and not only take it, but really knock it out of the park.
Mhm.
And Kristen Wiig has been impressing me. Like, she's done it
Yeah.
several times.
And that's the thing. You can be like, you can have a comedy actor or actress in a movie that's not a comedy, but have them still be funny, because life is funny.
Right.
And even like people who are naturally funny are just naturally funny.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like when Bill Murray did Lost in Translation. Like, I definitely wouldn't call that a comedy, but there's a lot. But it's a
Yeah.
really funny movie, because
Right.
like if someone's just naturally funny, it just kind of comes through, especially if you've seen them being funny for 20-something years.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you're laughing at something that's like, okay, they didn't intend for that to be a joke, but Bill Murray delivering that line makes it funny. So I feel like Skeleton Twins had a little bit of that going on, where it's like, these people are just naturally funny. So even if it's like a serious, intense, dramatic movie, there's going to be comedy in it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's real life.
Right.
And in
Yeah.
real life, funny stuff happens all the time.
Right.
And so the whole thing feels more real as a
Exactly.
More real. It's,
And the fact that like some of the scenes in the movie were improvised. They only had 3 weeks to film this entire movie.
3 weeks?
Yeah, they filmed it in
Okay.
3 weeks. And like I was saying, there's a scene in the dentist's office, which wasn't even scripted. The director was just like, you talk about this, talk about this, talk about this.
Yeah.
Kind of the way Christopher Guest does his movies.
Right.
But but when you've got 3 weeks to shoot a movie, even if you've got a small cast, but if you're trying to shoot a feature in 3 weeks, a lot of it's going to have to be improvised, or you're just going to have to
Yeah,
or a lot of
roll
stuff's
with
just
it.
not going to work.
Right. So, what did, after you watched Skeleton Twins, how did you feel afterwards? Because we had a definite glow after Amelie. I think we were all
Right.
consensus on that.
Yes.
What about after you watched Skeleton Twins?
I guess more of a thoughtful mood. I mean, you start thinking about your own family
Right.
and your own family relationships, thinking about maybe how you might be in these characters
Right.
at all.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
Mhm.
You have siblings? Do you? See, I don't have any.
I've got a few. Yeah.
You got a few. Okay, so
I was the
everybody
youngest
here.
of
Yeah.
several.
Yeah.
So like it was kind of like there was distance for me.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, is that is awesome, or that would be horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
It's relatable, and I feel like when someone gets like a sibling relationship and they become a filmmaker, like I don't know his family history, but I always feel like Wes Anderson had to have had siblings because all of his movies
yeah.
deal like Darjeeling Limited,
Right.
especially. That's one of the best movies about brothers ever made.
Yeah.
You know, that scene where they're on the campfire and when they're like, if we weren't related and we were just complete strangers, do you think we would even be friends? And the one guy's like, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like, yeah, and so I think whoever wrote and directed Skeleton, like they knew what they were doing.
Right.
And probably the actors too.
Right.
But
Yeah, and just kind of like, I don't know, thoughtful about life and like uplifted in way, because it does, you know, it goes towards a positive
Yeah.
note.
But it was very real.
Yeah.
it's not a sweet candy colored
Right. It's not
ending, and it's not a movie where it's like,
magical.
No.
and now we've wrapped everything up, roll credits.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's like you just saw a snippet of what these people are going through, and their journey continues. It's just, this is all you get to see.
Right.
You know, but I love the way it ended.
Mhm.
You know, like it's just
Yes.
another one of the little touches that added the realism to it.
So have you recommended these movies to people?
Oh, I've made people sit down and watch them.
So I feel like we're coming to an end of this episode.
Okay.
We need to wrap things up.
So we've definitely had, this was the twins episode. We had Amelie in there, but also had skeleton twins. We had two guys named Price. We've had like young ladies here who, in case you couldn't guess, while working, have often been mistaken for each other.
Once by me in a very awkward conversation.
I would say about at least once a shift.
Yeah.
Someone has.
But
Yeah.
we're not related.
No, not related.
Not
And
related.
I told you, like when you first came in, and I saw it, and I was like, oh,
Because
her sister.
you were here when Sam was training.
When training, and I was like, oh, your sister. And you came in, you set your stuff down, I'm like, and then you sat down and was looking at the computer. I'm like, oh, she's training. They are not related at all.
Yep.
This is gonna be fun. Just start the counter right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have kept.
Yeah,
tally.
I
I
know.
told you.
What would you estimate? How many?
Oh, I don't know. Because I think there are some times when I'm not sure if their person is mistaking me for you.
Oh yeah.
Because there was a patron recently who was like, your hair is so long. And I was like, yeah, it is. I haven't gotten a cut in a while. And then later I was like, she thought I was cute.
Yeah.
That's why it was so remarkable, because
Yeah.
it would be
Because it
crazy.
grew a lot.
Yeah.
So
So in honor of the twins, the episode, our theme, so we're gonna have twin episodes, and so this will be a two-parter.
Right.
So,
and we've got one more
we
twins
need
thing to do.
to wrap this up.
All right. So, Cameron,
Yes.
scenario. You're in this room, and it's wired with explosives,
Awesome.
and you're gonna save us all. And right now we're dealing with the twins of fate, or destiny, whichever you want to do. So
Fate.
we've got the twins here. You can ask one of them one question and one question only. One of them will always tell the truth, and one of them will always lie. The buttons here, one blows us all to smithereens. The other one gives us like chocolate and flowers and cool stuff. So what do? Timer's going. You got to save all of us.
I can never remember the way Jennifer Connelly worked this out. In Labyrinth.
You remember, you can ask one of them one question.
One lies, one tells the truth.
One lies, one tells the truth.
Okay,
It'll probably be the redhead.
thank you.
Right.
What button would she tell me to push?
So you're asking.
I'm asking you, what button would she tell me to push?
See? Dude, you got like 10 seconds. You're gonna have to go. Just go with your gut.
You know what? I've had a good run.
All right.
I'm just gonna pick one.
Did our intrepid hero pick the right button, assuring chocolates and flowers for all, or did he choose poorly, condemning us all to death and destruction? Does anyone get what we're referencing with this voiceover? Should we have picked a different way to end the show? Should I have this mole removed? Is anyone actually afraid of Virginia Woolf? For the answers to these and other thrilling questions, tune into next week's action-packed episode entitled The Invictus Conundrum, or Death Rides a Unicycle.